Hi, welcome to The Sacred Journey. The Sacred Journey is the program that reminds you that life is a wonderful adventure and each and every experience we have is a unique and perfect opportunity for learning. I'm Joyce St. Germaine, and today's program is Soulmates, a reunion. I often get asked about the concept of soulmates. It sounds so romantic and so magical and wonderful and special. It's all of that, but it's so much more. I believe, and there are many theories about soulmates, the two major theories are, one is that soulmates are one romantic partner. There is only one in the universe for you. It started when everything was just spirit. Nothing was ever in matter. No one had physical bodies. No one had incarnated. And then when the time came that we needed to walk our path and learn our lessons and have our experiences on the physical plane, two different types of physical bodies were created from one whole soul entity or unit. That's one theory. The other theory is that there are many soulmates that you will have in lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, and it is not just one. And I'll be sharing some kind of bits and pieces about each theory. The other side of things is some people think a soulmate is only a romantic relationship or partner, and some people think that you have soul relationships with your soul circle or your soul hub and people in your family, comrades, and I say that in a military sense. Sometimes people who have been in the service together form very, very deep bonds and felt as if they've known each other forever. As I said, family relationships, professional relationships, and even strained or relationships that have a lot of friction in them. They can be soulmates. Me personally, what I subscribe to and what I teach and share is that soul relationships or soul hubs are not always romantic relationships. That's part one of my teachings and my belief. Part two is that there is not just one soul mate for you. And I'll tell you why as we go along, why I believe that to be true. But first I want to start with soul hubs and soul relationships. My teachers taught me, and it felt right to me, and I've been examining both theories, and that's what I invite you to do. Listen to both sides of it. Maybe you'll find third, fourth, fifth side of it. But whatever feels right to you, whatever intuitively, deep at your core seems right, that is right for you. I believe that we find each other in your soul circle or your soul hub for a reason, and that we change roles, starting with family. In one lifetime, I'll refer to two people. One might be the grandfather and one might be a granddaughter. In the next lifetime, they may agree to meet again and find each other again as twin brothers, as a mother and a daughter, as perhaps a romantic partner. What determines this is what have you agreed to work on with each other. And it's a real expression of love to help someone work on their things, because as we know, on our soul path, we have a lot of ups and downs, and we have some bumps, and we have some challenges. Sometimes someone will say, I understand that that challenge is going to be difficult. Now, when I say sometimes someone will say, I am talking about and referring to the time between lifetimes when you are back in spirit. The theory of reincarnation allows us to have a greater access to more knowledge and more information. And you literally get to use your free will to choose which of these incarnations, in which area, around which soul people or soul circle would benefit me the most. Where would I get the greatest opportunities for learning? Now, that said, your free will plays a really important part. The opportunities may be predetermined. How you handle them is not. That is totally up to you. So, let's say that you say, I have not learned compassion very well in these other lifetimes. I want an opportunity to learn compassion. You'll have an opportunity to incarnate in different areas, as I said before, and you'll say, well, this particular one, I'll have more opportunities to learn compassion. And if one of your soul mates, in the broad sense, the sense that it would include co-workers, colleagues, comrades, friends, neighbors, in the broad sense, they may say, well, I need to learn selfless service to others. So we could actually work on that together. And they would agree to meet. Now, there's no conscious memory of this. There's no, like, okay, at such and such a date, on such and such a time, this child will be born. There'll be the reincarnation of this previous soul relationship, and here's what we're going to do, and here's what we're going to work on. That wouldn't make any sense. It might seem like it would make things easier, but it wouldn't, and it wouldn't make any sense. But what I really love about the whole theory of reincarnation and karma. Now, karma, basic way to describe it, cause and effect. Being responsible for our actions, learning and growing, making different choices. You know that old saying, and I'm going to kind of say it in a clumsy way, but if you keep doing what you've always done, you'll keep getting what you always got. You have to change your patterns of behavior. So that it does require you to look at your patterns. And if you say, geez, I always have this happen, or I always have this happen, or whenever I'm faced with this, I always make this decision and it never works out. Until you make a different decision in a same or similar circumstance, the end result isn't going to change. That's what's so wonderful. You will never run out of opportunities to learn. Now, I want to skip ahead to romantic partners. Romantic partners, I think I want to share one case history story that is so powerful. It's probably one of the most meaningful, impactful, if there's such a word, stories or events that ever has shaped me or touched my life. I was doing a paranormal investigation at a local restaurant that was hundreds of years old, and pardon me, they were known to have some haunting and spirit activity, and so they asked me to come see if I could find out what was going on and do a clearing, because employees were getting frightened and things were getting damaged. I don't want to go into too much detail, but what can and does happen is if a soul is a lost soul for some reason, either doesn't know they died, and we'll do a whole nother show on this, I promise, so I'm going to skim through it now, but for whatever reason, they haven't found their way to the light, someone can do soul rescue work, and that's what I was trying to do. So to kind of make a very long story a little bit shorter, I found the soul of a young girl she and her mom in another lifetime had lived in a boarding house, and they were the only women there, a girl, and were the only females there. And in reading between the lines, it sounded like her mom was a prostitute of sorts, and there were 9 or 10 men in this boarding house, and judging by what the young girl shared with me. And at the time, what I did was I had a colleague that I put under hypnosis, and we allowed, he allowed, and we worked in partnership for his vocal cords to be used, and we recorded this, and the little girl shared her experience. It seemed as if she was raped and murdered by one of these men. So I did what I always do, let her know how safe she was, let her see that she was in a light body. But I called, there's a whole process. I'll skip over now. That's not what this show is about. But I called for, if it was appropriate and for the highest good, the soul of her mom to come and greet her. At that moment, instead of her mother coming, the energy body or the spirit body of this man who had been responsible for her death came. And in doing the work that I do, I have to try to be one step ahead. I threw my energy body between the two of them so she wouldn't have to again be frightened, terrified, or in any way harmed by him. She literally ran through my energy body and embraced him. There was not a dry eye anywhere because we were witnessing unconditional love. They later spoke with me a little bit, the man and the woman and the young girl. And once they had reclaimed their light and had access to all this knowledge, were able to explain that they were in the soul circle together. And this young girl, here's karma, had done a similar thing and taken someone's life in a similar way in another lifetime and agreed to come back in this lifetime and bring it back into karmic balance. Some people use the word she had a karmic debt. So I like to say she brought it back into karmic balance. This man was a loving family member from another lifetime, and he said, I will help you have this experience. I'll be in your soul circle and I'll provide that opportunity. As horrific as it sounds, it was beautifully orchestrated because she was 4 years old, so she got to go back to spirit quickly, and now will choose a lifetime and never have to have that experience. I know it doesn't sound like that has a lot to do with soulmates. That is the true expression of soulmates. Someone loving a person enough to help them have a very, very difficult path and to help support them. And just think, the man was having a pretty difficult path. There wasn't a lot of love, I'm sure, in that particular lifetime, in order to not have to experience that again. And we'll do a future show with something a little bit deeper on that topic. But now let's skip to something a little bit more pleasant and a little bit more happy. With a romantic soulmate, I do not believe that there is this, it's romantic and it's wonderful that there is this one soul essence and that was split into two. Because what if your other half did not incarnate in, let's say, the gender that is desirable to you? Although these days, fortunately, we have the opportunity to choose what our perfect partner is. However, what if that person is still working on something in the soul planes and isn't ready to incarnate at the same time as you, and they're not ready for 40 years? That would be a very difficult. We know that there are many huge age differences in healthy relationships, but that would just make things a little bit more difficult. What if what they needed to experience had to happen in a whole different part of the world because of what they needed couldn't be provided in the same country as you, or same part of the world? It would be difficult to find. Now, certainly, with technology the way it is, we do meet people from all walks of life, from all places in the world, so it's not quite as much an issue now. But if you think that there are many people with whom you can have romantic soulmate relationships with, it will be so much more rewarding, and it wouldn't be like swimming upstream. Because you would always wonder, did I miss that opportunity? Did I miss that person? Are they still in spirit? What if I never find them? Does that mean I'm going to be lonely my whole life? No, 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 and no, however many questions I asked. If you could believe the concept that you will have many soulmates in each lifetime, or many opportunities, you might be fortunate enough to find your soulmate early on in life, in your young adult life or older teens, so that you can grow and unfold and develop again. But the way that I was taught, and that makes great sense to me, you will have different soulmates that are your soulmates for that time, that you must come together at that time, that there is almost like divine intervention bringing you together to grow and learn. The outcome of that has not been predetermined. But I can tell you this, when you meet a romantic soulmate, you'll know it. You'll have this indescribable sense of connection, a knowingness. Some people describe it as kind of becoming whole. People describe it different ways. But when you feel that what you're working on a personal/spiritual level, and what they're working on in a personal/spiritual level, when they feel like they're in direct conflict, and what I mean by that is their stuff pushes your buttons and triggers your stuff, and your stuff pushes their buttons and triggers their stuff, that's pretty likely a soulmate relationship. When things are so deep that the stuff you haven't yet addressed in your personal growth and spiritual growth comes up in your face, then it's very likely a soulmate. Now, if you look back at patterns in your relationships, romantic relationships, you will probably say, oh, that happened again. How could that happen again? Really? Another person like that? I just say, stop. You're the common denominator. If you're the common denominator, take a look at what you kept doing the same, even though they were different people. Do it differently and the outcome will be differently. And I believe that every dating relationship, there's something of value to grow and learn. Of course, I am excluding abusive relationships on any level, okay? Please understand that. But if you say, oh, this person isn't my dream person, there's something, but I just love being with them. But there's just something so wonderful. It might be that you two agreed to meet to help each other work out one last issue about relationships. Treasure that opportunity and don't just end the relationship because it's not what you believe is your forever and ever soulmate. Now, if you are ready and you've done work, you've done deep personal work, and you are ready for your soulmate, your soul partner, your romantic partner, your happily ever after, make sure you're ready. Create emotional space in your life by not holding on to past wounds, and there are a lot of spiritual exercises that you can do, and we are actually going to do a future show on that. Create space, and then fill yourself with love and light, and then just exude that. What you want is you want your love and light to connect with someone else's love and light. You don't want to have these voids in you or these wounds in you to attract another wounded person or a person who's ready to offer love, who's done all their work. Because if you're filled up with fear and with woundedness, there is no space for love to get in. Create space in your life, physically. If you're used to sleeping in the middle of the bed, sleep on one side. Leave space open. Imagine your soul partner there. Let the universe know that you are open, you are willing, you are receptive to love and be loved. Let your beloved, wherever they may be, know that you're ready to be loved. Then literally believe it will happen. Create it, manifest it. You always hear me talking about the subconscious mind will create whatever you feed, whatever you nourish, whatever you focus on and energize. There are some wonderful authors, and two that I happen to like. 21 Ways to Attract Your Soulmate, Ariane Saris. This is a great book. It's very well-rounded. It has a lot of great things in it. I bought it a long time ago and never read it. And last night I was flipping through and I went, oh, I've done that for years. Oh, I always do that. Oh, I always talk about that. Yeah, I've heard that. It's very well-rounded. I like it a lot. She's a psychologist. Another one, The Soulmate Secret, Arielle Ford. She does entire weekend-long workshops. She has other books. Both of these women have other books too, so you may already be familiar with them. There are often ways that you can do personal work that's not geared to soulmates that will benefit you on a soulmate readiness level. Anything that's a heart opener, anything about letting go of the past, taking care of yourself, prayer, meditation, yoga, tai chi, light-filling work. We will do some work in another show about some specific exercises that you can do, but I wanted to make sure to say that when you find your buttons getting pushed, don't walk away unless it's abusive. Okay, there's the line. Don't say, this is too much work, because this might be the last time you have to do it. You might have a partner that's willing to do it with you. But just because you've been together in another lifetime does not mean you must be together in this lifetime. I will have clients come to me and say, can you do past life regression for me? I want to find out how I knew this person because I know I knew them. And I'll say, sure. And we will find out. I always say to them, just because you've been together then does not mean you must be together now, because there's this concept. If we've been together then, we've got to be together in every lifetime. And I've seen people literally break up marriages that were happy and healthy. That's not what soulmates are, and that's not what they were intended to be. So embrace your beloved and whatever gender they're in, whatever body, wherever they are. And if you said, well, I really wanted somebody tall, what does that have to do with anything if you're looking for a soul connection? Or I have a rule, I only date somebody within 3 years age difference of me. Really? Get rid of your preconceived ideas and think about, I want to be with someone who's loving, kind, compassionate, expressive, joyful. Those are the things that you want to offer to someone, so those will be the things that you will want to receive. I have just a couple moments left, and I want to be sure not to forget anything. Negative or itchy relationships. Now I'm going to sneak away from the romantic for a moment and talk about that colleague that from the minute you met them, or someone, an acquaintance, from the minute you met them, they were, I don't know why I don't like them, but I just don't, and you just seem to have a hard time getting along. It's very likely you're back here to work on something, because in the past, maybe you were on opposite sides of the battlefield. Or, to completely opposite that, perhaps you felt so connected to them and you have no idea why. And it's not a romantic connection, but just a deep love and respect. They may have saved your life in a war. They may have been someone in a past life that kept you from starving because they shared what their family had. There's no way of knowing, and so that certainly fosters the be kind to all you meet, because you don't know what they have been through. Remember that we're all connected. What runs through one of us, energetically and spiritually, runs through all of us. What connects one connects all. So what you're going through has an impact on everyone. So I hope this has sparked your interest in soulmates. I hope you're interested in learning a little bit more. Watch some future shows, and I will come back and visit this. Thanks for joining us on the Sacred Journey. We'll catch you next time.